Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode about the circle of fifths. I've got a few short slides and just a few things just to show you how the circle of fifths can help us. It is one of the most effective tools, I think, that a musician can have in his arsenal. I have sent several students off to college who have told me that because they had mastered the circle of fifths, it helped them so much in their music theory courses in college, but it's just not for college. This is something that can help us in the bluegrass world, the country world, whatever music world you live in. The circle of fifths are a great help to us as musicians. So let's get started. How can the circle of fifths help us? I'm so glad you asked. First of all, the circle of fifths tells us that we can figure out what key a song is in. Now, we covered this in a previous video, but I'm going to review it. Every piece of music has a key signature. That key signature will contain sharps or flats, never both. You count the number of sharps or flats you see in the key signature, which, by the way, the key signature is all the way to the left, and you will see it right next to the treble clef or the bass clef in new music. They call that standard notation. And you're going to see a collection of sharps or flats. So you go find that, count them. All right? You find that number on this diagram, and the letter outside the circle next to that number tells you what key you're in. For instance, the first key signature to the left down here, how many flats are there? There are 3 flats. What key are we in? Well, find the number 3 on the flat side of the circle of fifths. Remember, we got a dotted line here. The flat keys are to the left, the sharp keys are to the right. So you go find the number 3 on the flat key side of the house, and that tells you we're in key of E flat. The second one, how many sharps do you see? Well, there's 5 sharps. So go to the side of the circle that has the sharp keys, the right-hand side, find the number 5, and then what's the letter next to it? B. We're in the key of B. Does that make sense? So that tells us what we can figure out what key a song is in. That's really important information to know, as you're going to see here in a minute. Once you know what key you're in, you can find the 1, 4, and 5 chords very quickly in that key. Again, using the circle of fifths. 1, 4, and 5 chords are the primary chords of almost any song in Western music. And the circle of fifths makes it easy to quickly figure it out. For instance, what key are we looking at? Key of C, for instance. What's the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the key of C? So glad you asked. You ask all the right questions. The 1 chord is C. All right, now go 1 click to the left of C or counterclockwise to C. 1 click counterclockwise, and you'll find the letter F. That's the 4 chord. Go 1 click to the right or clockwise from C, you find the letter G. That's your 5 chord. So what are the 1, 4, and 5 chord in the key of C? C, F, and G. Now I got a couple over here, examples we can use. See if you can figure this out. We're going to look at the key of E. What is the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the key of E? Well, find the 1 chord. What is it? Right, it's E. Now go 1 click counterclockwise from E. What letter do you see? That would be A. Okay, that's your 4 chord. Go 1 click clockwise from the letter E. What do you see? The letter B. So you 1, 4, and 5, E, A, and B. How about E flat? We're going to look at the key of E flat. What are the 1, 4, and 5 chords in the key of E flat? Well, find the 1 chord. There it is, E flat. Go 1 click counterclockwise from E flat. What letter do you see? A flat. That's your 4 chord. Go 1 click clockwise from E flat. What do you see? B flat. There's your 5 chord. The 1, 4, and 5 chord in the key of E flat are E flat, A flat, and B flat. Pretty amazing stuff. It's not hard. Now, we can also now figure out what notes are in any key. Now, this is a little bit more complex, but not really. It's real easy. Step one, we're going to pick a key, E flat. Don't know what my fascination with E flat is, but hey, that's what it is. Beginning with the letter E, using the musical alphabet, write all the letters going from E to E. Now, don't worry about putting any flats or sharps or anything like that in there. Just use the letter names only, going from E to E. Now, remember, the musical alphabet stops at G and starts over. So we're going to write the letters E, F, G, start over, A, B, C, D, E. We go from E to E. Why E to E? Well, we're looking for E flat, so that's the letter, E. Step 3. Find that key name that you're looking for on the circle of fifths. And there it is, E flat. What's the number next to that key E flat? Well, 3. Okay. That says there are 3 flats in this key. Now, look in the upper left corner where I have written out the order of flats. We've covered this in another video on drawing circle of fifths, so I'm not going to explain how to remember that, but just B-E-A-D-G-C-F is the order of flats. How many flats are there in our key signature? 3. So what we do is we find the first 3 letters in the order of flats. And what are they? I've highlighted them for you. B, E, A. Now, go to your series of letters that you wrote out in step number 2 and put a flat next to the letters B, E, and A. And we end up with what you see in step 5. All the notes in the key of E flat, or, as we say, the E flat major scale. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, and E flat. There's all the notes in the E flat major scale. Now, this is really important because now we can figure out the chords that are in the key of E flat. Think major scale. We now know the chords in that key, and it's really simple. Write out your major scale, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. And I put numbers underneath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. And if you can remember that 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7's diminished, you know the chords. E flat, A flat, B flat are major chords. F minor, G minor, C minor, there's your minor chords. And D diminished, that little O means diminished, is your 7 chord. Now, some students, I've discovered this, and I don't know why this is, but when I tell a group of students, 1, 4, 5's major, 2, 3, 6 minor, 7's diminished, they struggle with remembering that. But if I tell it this way, 1, 4, 5's major, everybody else is minor. Oh, the 7 chord, it's a minor chord, but it's a weirdo. It's diminished. The 7 chord is that weird little family member that every family has. That, you know, they're kind of fun to hang around with for a short while, but you don't want to live in the same house with them. Diminished chords are like that. You use them occasionally, like a little salt in the soup, but too much is too much. And I tell my students that if you can't think of who that odd family member is in your family, be open to the fact that maybe you're that guy or gal. Maybe you're the odd one. That would be me. I'm the odd one in my family. I own up to it. So I tell my students, 1, 4, 5's major, everybody else is minor. Oh yeah, 7 chord, it's a minor chord. It's weirdo, it's diminished. Somehow, for some reason, they remember that. So, we can find the key signature. We can find the 1, 4, 5 chords in that key signature. We can find which ones are minor, major, and diminished chords in a given key. We got one thing left. Oh yeah, by the way, when we put the chord names to the letter names of the major chord, that is called the chordal scale. I should have mentioned that. It's called the chordal scale. Now that we know the chordal scale and we know the major scale, there's one last thing that we can get from this. Now that we know the major scale, we also know the major pentatonic scale. We take the major scale and we remove note number 4 and note number 7. You know the pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 1. Ba-da-da-da-da, sunshine on a cloudy day. Very, very classic song. And they used the pentatonic scale for their introduction. Boom, boo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo, oh, I got sunshine. Yeah, you can start dancing now. Major pentatonic scale. Take away 4 and 7 from the major scale. Now, we also can figure out the minor scale. The minor scale, guess what? It is the major scale. But we start on C instead of E flat. Minor scale. C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. Then if we know the minor scale, we know the minor pentatonic scale. Guess what? The minor pentatonic scale is the major pentatonic scale, except we start on C instead of E flat. Look at all that information we've got. Let me just go back here real quick. We can figure out what key a song is in. We can find the 1, 4, and 5 chord in that key very quickly. We can figure out what the notes are in any key. We can write out any major scale we want. And we don't have to think about whole scale formulas like whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, which most of us are raised to think. Circle of fifths snaps you to it right away. Once you know the major scale, you also know the chordal scale. You know the chords that are in that key as well. And once you know the major scale, you also know your major pentatonic scale, you know your minor scale, and you know your minor pentatonic scale. Come on. What's not to love about the circle of fifths? This is Mr. G, and I am out of here.